member for Warringah.
Mr. Speaker, I move as an amendment to the motion the following amendment to Section 91 of the Standing Order 91. And I believe has been circulated. Mr. Speaker, this amendment is to make sure that we in fact do have a safe and respectful chamber and a parliamentary debate. There is a balancing act between robust parliamentary debate and having a safe and respectful and discrimination-free workplace. As parliamentarians, we must lead by example and ensure that freedom of speech is encouraged in our workplace, but it is not used to excuse harmful behaviour and disorderly conduct. So this amendment seeks to clarify what constitutes disorderly conduct in this place, so that when it occurs, it's not left to an interpretation in the moment, which can be difficult, especially if it has not been dealt with in that way in the past under the standing orders for the benefit of the chair. And it can be quickly addressed and such, allowing the debate to return to being productive and allowing MPs to continue with that job. We know in our laws that we have anti-discrimination laws that makes it unlawful to have bullying, intimidating and harassing behaviour in a workplace. We know it is unlawful conduct. The difficulty we have is how that then applies in this place, because at the same time we have parliamentary privilege. Parliamentary privilege protects members from defamation for statements made in the chamber. It ensures freedom of speech in parliamentary proceedings. However, parliamentary privilege does not override all legal obligations. In fact, it does not protect against discrimination and does not exempt conduct within the chamber from scrutiny in relation to anti-discrimination principles. The difficulty is when the bullying, harassing and intimidation is oral, via way of yelling, for example, as I experienced during the previous term of parliament, where the coalition went in a mob-like attitude of turning and yelling and trying to intimidate me from continuing with my speech. In any other workplace, that would be unlawful conduct. The difficulty in this place is parliamentary privilege is seen as an override from a question of that conduct and that applying. So my amendment seeks to make very clear that the Standing Order 91, which relates to disorderly conduct, includes behaviour that is intimidating, bullying and harassing. And by making it explicit, it enables and empowers the Speaker to be able to rule very quickly, promptly, when behaviour is underway in the chamber that is in fact intimidating, bullying or harassing. And that's why it's really important. Now, this has been tried to be dealt with through codes of conduct, and we know this parliament and the previous parliament has tried to improve the respect and the conduct in this place. But the difficulty is the code of conduct does not apply in this chamber because of that interrelation with parliamentary privilege. So it is a balancing act between protecting robust parliamentary debate but ensuring a safe, respectful and discrimination-free workplace. And I would argue there have been instances in this place where that has not happened. I've certainly been the subject of it. And if we are to commence this new 48th parliament in a new tone and a new note, I would urge the government to consider this amendment to Standing Order 91 to make it very clear and explicit for the benefit of the Speaker in applying the standing orders that disorderly conduct includes intimidation, harassment and bullying. I think in this place, legislators, we have to lead by example. We have to ensure workplace reflects the values we are legislating for others. We cannot have a situation where our workplace is setting a standard completely different to the one that is applied in workplaces all around Australia. So I commend the amendment to the House.
Is the motion seconded? And I call the honourable member for Indi.
I second this motion, and I think that the member for Warringah has outlined very clearly the dilemma that we have in changing the workplace culture in this parliament. What the public see is not what happens in our committees or in our corridors or across the parliament, where the code of behaviour does apply. I made reference to this yesterday in my speech, commending the Speaker to the position that you hold. This is the kind of amendment that gives the Speaker the tools that the Speaker needs to improve the behaviour in the Parliament, that will improve the respect that's shown to members and will be in alignment with modern workplace culture across this nation.
The question is the amendment to be agreed to. I call the Leader of House.
If I can just respond to the amendment itself, Mr. Speaker, and I'll just respond once because there are two amendments that have both been circulated. One deals with giving additional powers to the Speaker by framing things in the negative as to what we would want to prevent, and the next one frames things in terms of giving similar powers to the Speaker but framing it in terms of what we would want to expect. They frame them differently, but they deal with a similar concept. Can I say, if you go through, anyone who goes through practice will see that offensive words are clearly out, offensive gestures are clearly out, but offensive and intimidatory behaviour is not necessarily covered. I think it is fair to say that there is a strong appetite from this Parliament and expectation from the Australian people that sort of behaviour is just as dangerous and would be considered by the public just as unparliamentary as the words or the gestures that are already referred to in practice. What method is best to deal with this in terms of do you frame it in the positive, do you frame it in the negative? Do you in fact need the power? Is there another method? I don't have a fixed view on. But I do have a very fixed view that in my conversations with the crossbench, if I put it in these terms, what we saw and have often seen, which is more directed at the crossbench than at any other members in this place, is a situation when people stand when the chamber is full and a pile-on occurring, which for any observer would think what they were watching intimidation. And sometimes it will happen to government or opposition members, but I've seen it happen a lot to the crossbench. It is not something we want in the Parliament. What the method is to deal with this, I can't give a guarantee, and so the government won't be supporting either of this amendment or the next amendment in this motion today. I will undertake to the Parliament, though, for both this amendment and the next amendment, that as soon as the Procedures Committee is formed, I'll be writing to them and asking them to look at this matter. Whichever pathway, whether it's standing orders, whether it's something you as Speaker decide you already have the power to do, I do think there is an expectation in the Parliament that, yes, words can be offensive, yes, gestures can be offensive, but yes, behaviour can be offensive as well. That doesn't always necessarily involve words or gestures, and it is one of the areas where, as part of us responding to the Kate Jenkins inquiry that came down, and in making sure that we are in fact setting a standard and raising the standards of this place, is something that we need to basically ensure that you are empowered to be able to deal with the behaviour. So we'll be opposing both amendments, but I wanted to explain in one hit the reasons.